This is definitely not a movie you just watch on the regular. 1917, directed by Sam Mendes, starring Dean Charles Chapman and George McKay. Its 2020 Oscar nominations include Best Picture, Best Director, Best Original Music Score, Best Original Screenplay, Best Cinematography, Best Sound Mixing, Best Visual Effects, Best Production Design, Best Makeup and Hairstyling, Best Sound Editing, to name a few. So what is 1917 about? Lance Corporal Tom Blake and Lance Corporal Will Schofield are given the impossible mission of delivering a message to Colonel Mackenzie for a full retreat because Colonel Mackenzie is about to lead 1,600 men into a trap set by the Germans. Now, it's not an easy task for Blake and Schofield because they have to cross no man's land in a lot of uncharted territory to get to Mackenzie before dawn. Now, if you didn't know this, 1917 is edited to feel like one continuous shot. Now, this form of filmmaking and editing builds this film more into a thriller rather than a war film. Some of the most recent films or TV shows that have used this style of filmmaking that you might have seen are Silent Hill and Birdman in 2014, The Haunting of Hill House Season 1, Episode 6. Also, here's a bit of history for you. The first filmmaker to ever achieve the one continuous shot type film was Alfred Hitchcock in 1948 with his film Rope. 1917 is a fantastic film, and I think that for many different reasons. The approach to this film was the right one, because if it had taken a traditional approach, it would have felt like any other war film, i.e. Saving Private Ryan. The approach of the one continuous shot with 1917 is so stupid effective. And it wouldn't be as effective if it didn't have the cinematography magic of Roger Deakins, who's got quite the list of credits to his name. I mean, Blade Runner 2049, No Country for Old Men, Skyfall, and Sicario. If you haven't seen any of those movies, you need to go watch them, because they're great. This film opens up with a peaceful open field with our two main characters trying to catch what little shut-eye they can, and then they're awoken and given orders to meet one of their head officers, and that's when they're given the order to deliver the message to Colonel Mackenzie. Now, the thing that really sets the tone of this film is the opening. I mean, this one continuous shot of them getting up and making their way into the trenches just takes you from this open space into the confined frontline trenches. I mean, it is so claustrophobic, and it stays that way throughout the entire film. Now, about 20 minutes into the film, they make it to no man's land, where it's just open, and everything's just decimated and flat and dead. And even then, you feel claustrophobic, and you feel lost. I mean, Roger Deakins freaking knocks it out of the park on this one. There were just moments of just awe watching this film. Not even 20, 30 minutes into this film, you're just like, holy crap, how did they do this? And the questioning of how they did it aside, it puts this feeling in you of possibly what these two main characters are feeling. You know, feeling alone and feeling like you're trapped. Oh man, this film is intense. If you don't like intense films, maybe don't watch this. Now, Thomas Newman, who did the score for this, he's known for Skyfall, WALL-E, American Beauty. He breathes life into this film, and it's done in such a effortless way. And I mean that in the sense, you forget it's there until you do, like, inventory. I mean, there was a point in the film where I was like, this is so intense, I need to catch my breath. And I have to sometimes, because I do have anxiety, and so there are times that I'm like, okay, I need to do some inventory, so I'll pull out of the film. I pulled out of the film in this instance, and I just kind of did inventory, and I looked down, and my hands were like clenching the seat. It was ridiculous. I was like, okay, all right, this is so intense, I just need to take a deep breath. But between Roger Deakins and Thomas Newman, they breathed new life and added so many other layers to what Sam Mendes was already doing with this film. And I mean, it gives it a pulse that just reverberates into your chair. And I mean, clearly I was holding on to mine. But I say all of that, again, to bring it back to Sam Mendes. His direction and his decision to have this approach to the story, he did such a great job of guiding the ship. I read an article where they had interviewed Mendez about 1917, and he was saying that it's not entirely a true story, but it is based on stories that was given to him by his grandfather, Alfred H. Mendez, who served in the British Army during the First World War. Now, when I read that, this film meant even more to me. Like Mendez, I would love to tell a story of memories of World War II, memories that were given to me by my grandfather, Clifford Rice, who served in the Second World War. And he was in the 101st Airborne, pulled out of that, put into the Panzer Division, and fought in the Battle of the Bulge. Now, as someone who shares those memories of sitting there and listening to a loved one share these horrific incidences as their way of coping in the latter years of their life, good and bad, I commend him for accomplishing that. And, it's stories like that make me want to be a filmmaker and why I am a filmmaker. And stories like 1917 need to be told. Moments need to be remembered and lessons need to be learned. 1917 gives you a feeling of relief and remorse. From beginning to end, this film is, it's heart-wrenching. It's beautiful. They thought of so many different things, and there's so many breathtaking. I don't know. I'm almost at a loss of words. I've probably written this review out 100 times and edited it, and I'm like, no, this doesn't. I'm having. It's hard to even It's good. 1917's good. That's all I can say. It's great. And I mean, the performances by George McKay and Dean Charles Chapman, they're brilliant and effortless, and they put us in a time long forgotten. It's easy when you don't go through something like that. It's easy to become detached. It made it feel like it was yesterday. And that is so important because we can't forget moments like this in history. We forget so many things so easily because just of our day-to-day lives and how fast-paced we live nowadays. But we need to remember those that have lost their lives. Here you got these kids. They're kids. That's what they are. They're out there putting their life on the line for their country. And the dialogue that they have helps you care about them. And that says so much about the writing as well. I mean, I could keep going on about this film, and I don't want to because I don't want to ruin anything for those that haven't seen the film and would like to see the film. But that leads me to the one complaint that I had with the film, and that is the trailer. For me, who watches a lot of TV or streaming, I guess we call nowadays, in films, I'm a very visual person, and when I see an image, it burns into my brain. And the trailer, don't go watch it, the trailer, for me, ruined a very impactful moment. It was still impactful, but there was a moment in the film that I knew was coming because I saw a clip, and I was like, I wonder. And sure enough, I was right, just based on the trailer. And if you've been following me for a while, you know that I hate trailers in general. I would much rather just somebody give a minute teaser of a film and we call it a day. Because if you can't capture me in a minute, I don't know. Maybe your film's not worth seeing. I don't know. Maybe trailer editors are they just don't trust the system anymore. They don't trust people to watch a trailer, be interested, and go see the film. Because they would much rather stay at home and watch something on Netflix, Disney Plus, Hulu, all the streaming services. I don't know. Trust the system, guys. Trust it. Do better. Okay, so what am I going to give 1917? I'm going to give 1917 a freshly popped tub of popcorn that's salted to perfection with Raisinets on top. It's a nail-biter that's heart-wrenching at the same time, and it's definitely a huge accomplishment in storytelling. And without a doubt, it deserves the nominations that it received. Have you seen 1917? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you love it? Let me know in those comments down below. If you like what I had to say, be sure to hit that like button. And if you want to see more from Spillcorn, be sure to subscribe. Also, be sure to check out our podcast called The Expendable Opinion, where we deep dive into a lot of the things I talk about right here on Done Seen It. My name's Miles Rice. This is Done Seen It, and you guys have a fantastic day.